Welcome back, everybody. I told you it was going to be a short break, and it was. We've got all 6 players into the lobby, and we are about ready to get into queue for game number 1 of the day. And you know what? We had an on-time pre-show, and we still start at 3:30, Dendar. Sometimes that's just how it is.
Sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles, but we had a short break. Let's see if this game is just as short. As somebody who's been doing the new Savage tier in Final Fantasy XIV, I'm quite familiar with arena edges. Let's see if these players can avoid doing the same. As we're getting into this Atlas Lab game where a lot of damage could be coming out, it is going to be the Kai forward as opposed to the Now forward. So we will just have to see how that works out. But I think with Tragic actually subbing in the forward position, taking in the sub position over Borg, that is going to be quite interesting to see how that works out for them, as we have Breezy Breezy on this Luna. We'll have to see how this starts out. Let's take a look at the starting awakenings. We do have that aerials on the Zentaro, like you mentioned, a good call out there, and we have it on Scyther as well on that forward position. But that said, everybody else has opted for the orbs, so we'll have to see how people can keep them alive. As now one barrier has gone down, we'll have to see if they can get the second here, or whether or not this extra dash range is going to let them turn the tables.
Absolutely here, and we got to look at the stats a little bit during our short break, and I remembered what point I was trying to make. Scyther played the Luna last week, is the other kind of ranged, non-traditional brawler that we got to see him bust out semi-recently, or I guess as recently as he possibly could. It was his final game of the week last week. Got to look pretty good on that one. Let's see if he can reprise some of that performance on the Kai. Already taking it aggressively with the barrage. Can't get it past Frightfully Fresh. Not going to be able to send it in with the big finish either. Here comes a big boost, and they'll just slip it on through while the elusive comes on across. Nicely done by Liari. She's going to walk away with point number 1.
That Zentaro ultimate, usually pretty good at trapping the core, but with another person in there and some great timing, Liari finds a way around and gets that point for her team. As now up 1-0, the BUNN and Bonanza are on the lower end this round as they lose their first barrier, and Tragic attempting to take the second with a pass. Breezy Breezy not quite ready for it there, but now that things have evened up a bit, let's take a look at some of these orb stacks. It looks like both teams are making great use of that awakening, but one of them has just been reset as Breezy Breezy gets a kill there, but a barrier is taken in retaliation.
Such ridiculous damage coming through on a Tragic there. About to find themselves staggered, but won't quite be able to finish it off. Lily, though, just walks down, gets the flip into the goal. Easy peasy, and a 2-0 lead over to BUNN Bonanza.
I like that awareness to have Lily Bunn go up with that flip, recognizing that Asher does not have that huge mobility or range to really stop a 1v1 core flip. And then I believe it was Liari came back just to help on that defense, just should something go wrong. So great plays by the team altogether, making good use of the downtime where their teammate was dead to still manage to make something happen. That core flip almost making something happen with an insane angle, but it was just slightly off. But that just goes to show how every little bit, every piece they're making matter here.
Absolutely. Love that from Scyther, just trying to go for some creative angles. Liari going to be getting the pass, can't quite push it through though. Scyther waiting down on the bottom side. Lilybun going to get it into the scoring hands, but Scyther not going to be able to finish it off yet. Scyther, again, going to actually be Lilybun catching it with the big finish and sending it home. 3-0 set, very clean from BUNN Bonanza. They don't miss any beats.
Tricky ultimate to deal with if you don't have some multi-hits to get it out or even just strike into ability. Normally, you'll see in those situations, they try to angle it up or down to try to just survive in that instance rather than try to force it out. But we'll have to see how this draft goes, as Reverberation is actually the first pickup here. There's quite a few strong things on this draft, but Reverb being the first pickup is quite interesting. I like this Monumentalist pick to really help get it out the pockets and apply a little bit of extra damage for the team. That Quick Strike's, though, going to be quite tough to deal with, but so is a Deadeye Luna. Catalyst, being the last pick here, is quite concerning. The 1-2 punch was taken to avoid some of the damage that is coming out and get some of that core speed, but I think Catalyst being last pick here is very strange and not one that I'm a huge fan of, because with Quick Strikes on Scyther, they could have had a huge energy economy lead if they had taken that Catalyst. And with how much damage is coming out, that's a lot of energy they could have had on their side, even with the healing from now. You never say no to extra survivability here against these players.
Absolutely, but going to end up coming on through there, and at the end of the day, it's a pretty powerful draft for last call. Not going to stop Bun Bonanza from continuing to groove on through, though. Scyther going to be able to close out the point, pushes through both barriers, and is able to take it home. And that is going to be another lead, 4 goals in a row to Bun Bonanza.
Oh.
Super early KO, though, found here by Last Call. And now Scyther, good read there to just hold on to it for a moment, not end up giving up more than he has to, buy some time for the respawn, and they do actually take a barrier anyway. Looking for a second one off the flip. Good block there from Frightfully Fresh. And they will be able to get a barrier back on the other side. All in all, though, good job to be able to mitigate the damage from coming on through from that early KO. At the end of the day, Bun Bonanza end up still even on barriers.
Even on barriers, but not even on resources here, as there's a flip available for both sides, but Frightfully Fresh is pretty close to one of their own. Last 3 rounds, we've seen Scyther do some crazy 1v9 plays, but here at the end of the day, they are off the pitch, and now their team is going to have to survive yet again, but we've seen this situation before where LilyBunn has the flip and Liari comes back for the defense. We'll have to see if that comes back once again.
Absolutely here, Liari getting taken a little bit low, does go through the lifeline. Scyther going to be able to find the KO onto that Luna, and now with the power play, Scyther dribbling it off the bottom. Flip comes through from Frightfully Fresh. LilyBunn going to be able to come up here and be able to keep the aggression going. Tragic Scythers themselves off on the top side. Maybe an inadvisable rush up leaves a massive hole in the defense, and Bun Bonanza are able to send it home.
That was a beautiful setup, using the extra. Even with that lack of the speed reduction that the ultimate gets, they still found a way to get it to Liari with that mine to send it in. That was a great setup and a great point taken. But that said, LilyBunn still has this flip, but now Tragic has one of their own should they be able to get into the scoring position. But right now the offense is holding it down so well, so was the defense there. But now Scyther, even with that primary, not able to get it past that iron wall that is the Asher primary. But that said, a bit of back and forth here, some resources traded. We have to take a look at those orb stacks once again. Liari still at 0 stacks, 3Z at 2. With how many KOs there are, it feels like it can be so tough to hold on to those stacks, just like it can be difficult to hold on to these barriers when you have players like Tragic going for goals left and right here. Quick round and quick retaliation. We'll have to see another couple to get them back into the reins here, but that said, looks like a potential turnaround could be mounted.
Yeah, really great timing from Tragic on that last point to get the first point of the game for Last Call here. They do manage to be able to find it just by sending it right through as the gates open on up for the core. Now, keeping up that aggression, going to be looking for a second barrier for themselves. Scyther turning it back around on the other side. The Path Splitter only going to keep it pinned up to the top. Scyther going to take 1. Scyther takes 2. And it's an open goal available now with Core Flip in their pocket. Frightfully Fresh going to send it on up. KO found on a Scyther. Going to take all those resources away. And now Liari going to try to fend up them off on the top side. Taken down pretty low, though. Going to try to guide it up towards the top. Has the triple take from LilyBunn for the support. Lifeline going to keep that health bar up pretty high. Scyther back on the respawn. Coming in for the aggressive push. Looking for the barriers. And will be able to push it on past a 3rd goal. A 2nd set. Going over to Bun Bonanza.
Scyther is really making the most of this Kai kit to really just cause havoc for the defense. I don't want to say 1v9 quite yet, as both sides have had some excellent plays, and this whole side of Bun Bonanza has been playing together wonderfully. But we've definitely seen a couple times where Scyther has really just gone up and not been forced out, and they're rewarded with Orb Dancer as they're able to deny a double orb setup here. But that's Deadeye and now Missile Prop on Luna. That's gonna be tough to deal with, and with the Asher now having a bit of speed to help deal with some of these situations where they feel like they're struggling to get the range that they need. That's going to help them out, but bulk up on the now is going to be a lot of power. That's a lot of damage this now is potentially doing here, but Tragic getting this twin drive, that's going to be more dashes, and like we see there, sometimes that extra dash is just going to choke out a point. So you're going to have to be really careful as they have to get it past this midfield line, but Scyther was waiting. But they're still managing to get it past, get this offense going. But with these extra dashes, we'll have to see if Tragic can make the distance they need to start scoring these points for the team.
Absolutely here. And with the Cask to Last now picked up for LilyBunn, going to have access to longer-term abilities. And just the uptime on that special is going to be so high as Scyther finds another flip and score right through Frightfully Fresh. LilyBunn now has access to that ultimate so frequently, it's going to last for so long, and then it's got the cooldown reduction as well off the back of the Orb Ponder and the Reverb. It's going to certainly be a big threat for them pretty much all the time, and you can see she's perfectly willing to just throw that one out to try to keep the aggression going at all times, although KO found on a Scyther.
KO found, and so is a barrier taken, but that's how Lilybun has used this flip. That's not going to be a point for the team potentially going out, but with Liara coming back off of that teleport, they managed to get a barrier of their own, as now the net is open, and while Fred's has been doing an excellent job with those Asher primaries, denying the Kai primaries, they can't deny Scyther there, as they go through Tragic and Frightfully Fresh, get yet another point, and we are on match point here, Gordo. It's gonna be tough. Breezy has been finding these kills, but they can't seem to find the points here on the side of Last Call.
Yeah, no, really dominant showing so far from Bun Bun Bonanza. They want to make sure that they are locked in top 4, and they are on great pace to be able to do so here, looking for a closeout in game number 1. Only haven't given up 1 goal so far. They're going to see if they can make the comeback happen here on Last Call. Going to be able to take both barriers. Tragic setup for a scoring opportunity. They keep it outside of the Oni's blade. Frightfully Fresh passes it up. Here comes the finish! And Tragic will get a second. They will survive for at least 1 more point on the side of Last Call.
Some excellent timing on that triple take, or perhaps just lucky, hard to say. But at this level, it's hard to call anything luck at this point. That said, though, Tragic is going to need to be lucky to stay alive with such low health and such low energy here, as Lilybun has had these ultimates time and time again, not just throughout this series, but throughout all of NASL, where they've had such good ultimates to keep their team afloat, but the entire enemy team is dead, and with some passing plays, that is the last point of this game, as Bun Bun Bonanza, in a dominant performance, are going to take this one. We'll have to see what the turnabout is in the next few games, but that was a bit of a stomp, I gotta be honest.
Yeah, just beautiful passing plays to close things out, and Bun Bun Bonanza just look on a completely different level compared to their opponents in this game. Breezy able to walk away with 5 KOs to their name. That's probably the best look that they've got going for them on Last Call off of game number 1, but the core control setups and the ability to even get some damage out of a Kai and a Kai Finny Now composition certainly does look pretty good for Bun Bun Bonanza. They're, of course, lower in the damage department, but in the KOs department, they're not too far behind, and they find their way to close out the game without too much trouble.
We'll have to see if they get a little bit more trouble next time around, but we'll have to get into this next game, which is going to be on that Oni village, so perhaps damage is not on the table as much as it was for this one, as that is a much slower map and much bigger map. It's going to be harder to get those kill confirms. That they had some great setups on the side of Last Call for those kills, but when that gets taken away, and that was the only good look they really particularly had for them, like you said, it's going to be tough to find a new angle, especially when they're playing so well on the side of Bun Bun Bonanza, and it really just feels like it's so tough to play around them as they are right now. You're going to have to pull out something new, something exciting. We'll just have to see what that something is.
Yeah, absolutely will here. So, going to be a different look for game number 2, almost surely. And going to need to be here from the side of Last Call, because their composition, at least into this one from Bun Bun, definitely did not work out for them in this game number 1 of the day. Yeah, I mean, that was like a 10-minute game or something. What was the actual timing? I didn't get to see it, but it was certainly short.
Short, sweet, and to the point, but the Sony Village game is going to be quite the opposite, as these rounds are gonna go long. But these picks, I feel like, will be perhaps a bit more traditional, because with this map and how it is played out, you kind of need those traditional picks here. Otherwise, it can just feel like you're in such a slog, and it becomes even harder to play the game. We'll just have to see what these character picks and bans are. Perhaps we'll see things like the Kai midfield come out as opposed to the forward, as we are getting into this draft, but it is a Deadeye cast to last start. I don't think there's any Octavia players in this lobby, but with that Deadeye pickup, it's tough to pick Luna on this map at times, so maybe this is an excuse to see it come back. We'll just have to see what the picks and bans are, but I think with a Deadeye start here, I think we're either going to be seeing a very early Estelle pick or a very early Estelle ban.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of the two. Wait and see how the draft does start to transpire below us here, but definitely going to be some room to see either or coming on across. Sorry, 11:21 is what I've been told was the timer on that game number 1. So pretty quick victory. Not the quickest we've seen, but close for the side of Bun Bun Bonanza. We'll see if they're going to be trying to beat that record or if we're going to get to see a little bit more competition from last call in this second game. Waiting on these bans to start coming on across, but yeah, we'll see if anybody does put some priority on towards that Octavia, given that it is cast to last start. Otherwise, I mean, there's definitely other characters that both of these teams play that would appreciate it. You know, the Deadeye makes you wonder if we're going to get to see the Luna run back from last call. The cast to last in itself makes you wonder if you're going to get to see the Finny some more out of Lilybun. There's definitely opportunities to see both.
Opportunities aplenty, but until we get into this draft, we won't know for sure. I think another consideration here is that even though it may not be the best pick, something like a Castellas Rasmus could still be quite potent here, as both sides easily able to play it to a high level. And while I don't think you'll want that Deadeye, even though it can proc off of the Pendulum Swing, I think that the Castellas Rasmus could certainly be quite nice. But another character that is quite popular on this map as far as a forward pick is the Kazan. And these starting awakenings really do not favor him. So we'll have to see if that character still gets picked regardless, just because he is so powerful, or if looking at the other forward picks for this map is Zentaro, also not great with these awakenings. So I'm not sure what the approach is going to be here, as your traditional picks on this map of Zentaro, Kazan, Rasmus, only one of them really benefits from this start. And so I don't think we'll see them particularly banned out, but that means one player, if you want to go for one of those traditional meta picks on this map, you're going to be losing out on a good bit of value from the start. It's tough to say what the picks are going to be here for the forwards, as even the other brawlers like Juliet don't really want this start. And while X could want it for that Castellas, X not very good, notably, on Oni Village. We've seen it played to success, but certainly not easy.
Certainly not. We will have to see Oni Village coming on up as our next map. Of course, Demon Days will close us out if we do end up going to our final game number 3. But based on how that first map played out, I mean, it really feels like it's going to need to be a big change up from last call here. Certainly a bit of a rude introduction to the North American Strikers League for Tragic here. That was their first game on the NASL stage, and coming up with both scores for their team, but certainly not what you're hoping for. That is how these late season substitutions can at times play out. Definitely not going to be the start that they were hoping for, but we'll see how they will do coming in their second game.
It appears we're going to have new awakenings here. I don't know if the players gentlemen to re-roll them, but regardless, production is telling us we will have new awakenings and a new draft. I think, given the circumstances, I can somewhat understand why the players would want new awakenings for that map, as we're going to see Might of the Colossus and Orb Dancer. Well, I can't say I love re-rolling into Orb Dancer on Oni Village just as far as what it's going to create of the gameplay loop. It's certainly more interesting starting awakenings as far as the forward picks here. Going to cause not just Rasmus to be particularly good here, but going to lead to a lot of options. But regardless, the players have asked for a reroll. The reroll has gone through, and we are here now. So we're just going to have to see how that works out for us, as our previous predictions out the window. But I think Orb Dancer kind of leaves everything open as a potential good pick here. Even something like that Juliet that previously we mentioned would not be very good on a map like this or that X. But with that extra speed from the Orb Dancer allowing them to run around, potentially we could see something like that come out, as Last Call has banned out the Dubu. Trying to take that away from Lilybun, somewhat understandable, as we see Finny is the ban for Bun Bun Bonanza, actually, as the Rasmus and the Kazan now both on the forefront of this draft. Only one of those was looking playable last, but here we are now, where both are suddenly very alive and pickable. We'll have to see what this pick 3 is, but that said, started this draft looking much better than it would have previously.
Yeah, just a little fun fact for anybody tuned in. Apparently, the quickest game in NASL history was all the way back in Season 1. It was 5 minutes and 50 seconds. So actually not even close to one of the fastest games in history. Perhaps relatively close to one of the fastest games of the season, maybe. But I would be very surprised if that record ended up being broken anytime soon. As yeah, we do see that Kazan and that Now come on through for BUNN. So they're going to take the Now into their own hands, and it looks like put Scyther back on the Kazan, a pick that if they haven't been on Rasmus this season, he's usually been on the Kazan. So going to be running that one back here.
Definitely a pick that the fans are a fan of. No Drakkar Brawler here, just going back to the basics, but that is going to be a Luna goalie pickup, I believe. Very interesting from BUNN Bonanza. We'll have to see how that works out for them, as the opposite team is going to have the Mako goalie. Very standard pick here. Kai midfield, also very standard. Last call looking to lock things up, get themselves to a game 3, picking very traditional comp here, something that they are familiar with and know how to play. But the BUNN Bonanza comp here, interesting goalie pick on this map, can be quite tough to defend as Luna on these barriers. But that said, we'll just have to see how it works out for them as the picks are locked in. Let's look at this Might of the Colossus and see who might be looking at that. I think with the Mako pick on the goalie, we might see the Might of the Colossus on the Rasmus here, just because they get that extra size and could really make the most of size as that character. And then Kazan, also very good with size, but both of these forwards also very good with Orb Dancer on this map, so we'll just have to see what the pick is here. That said, if it's 6 Orb Dancer, we will see that Might of the Colossus go back into the rotation for later on. So potentially that could be another strategy here, is just going for the Orb Dancer and hoping you get to see that awakening later.
Yeah, definitely could be here. Interesting to wonder where BUNN are going to put these characters as well. Will it be the Luna at midfield? Will it be the Luna in the goal arc and vice versa for the Now? Going to be definitely some opportunities to change things up there. Do think it's almost certainly going to be Mako in the goal for last call. That Kai playing midfield. Let's see how things are going to play out. BUNN will be in the goal arc piloting the Now. And so it will be Scyther coming on out on the Luna, running it back with Liari on the Kazan. So I was wrong about who would be playing what. Scyther's running back the Luna from last week.
Yeah, we were definitely a bit on the wrong end here, but these players know what's right for them, as it clearly works out as Scyther gets a quick point here. That said, let's take a look at these starting awakenings. We have Might of the Colossus on Frightfully Fresh, surprisingly, and Liari. But the rest of the lobby is going to be on that Orb Dancer. Not much time to stack that up last round, as it was just quick barriers into a quick point. But now we're back with Tragic and 3Z mounting this offense, but Liari on the midfield Kazan. Typically see that character as a brawler now, but when you have a brawler Luna, you got to make space somewhere.
What massive plays there from Scyther, just going in for the mix-up, using the boost to be able to get that additional strike through, be able to find the second barrier. And this guy, I mean, over the course of these last couple of weeks, busting out more of these ranged characters. We saw the Now last game. This is the second Luna game from him. The Drakkar over the course of the last couple of weeks, too. Absolutely crazy stuff from this player who got our Rookie of the Split, Rookie of the Year, Rookie of the Season, whatever you want to call it, last season for their brawler play, and now really just expanding to more and more types of characters.
Ooh, I definitely like it, but I also like that pendulum swing. Getting a quick KO there. Yeah, Scyther, a player who really just seems like they can kind of do it all at this point in the forward position. Feels like anything they pick. I mean, we were talking earlier about a potential Now brawler pick from them, and we didn't even seem too terribly shocked, honestly. That just goes to show how talented this player is and how much effort they have put in, recognizing that they've just done so much to be here ever since their debut and has really created a name for themselves as one of the big players in this league. So shoutouts to them, really just making it seem like the impossible is possible, as now they're going to have to make this defense possible as the barrier is open.
Absolutely here. Liari maintaining control, going in for the above and below. Won't be able to find it, and look at that. This slips past BUNN. Wasn't quite ready for Tragic's aggression on the Kai. Tragic will end up with another score. Already looking better than game number 1, our last call.
Looking better for last call, but we'll have to see if they can keep it up, as it is still down for them, as BUNN Bonanza deliberating over whether or not to take that mine, lose the barrier regardless. As now it's one barrier both sides. Both the top barriers here are going to be what these teams are playing around. That's going to leave a lot of space open in the bottom right and bottom left. So So we'll have to see how these players make the most of that space. Kazan, very good at using open space, but so is Kai with that speed. And with 3Z having some speed of their own, it's going to be tough to find the angle around these players. But Tragic is looking quite low. Potentially, a Scyther KO could be coming out here with the help of their teammates. But the barrier's open once more, and Tragic is looking for some energy to stay alive.
Absolutely is here. Definitely do have the open goal available, though. 3Z looking for a bit of a breakaway here on the Rasmus, trying to send it home. Can't keep control over the core, though. Liari going to take it back, goes in for the flip, sends it up. Can't get it past Frightfully Fresh, though. Scyther waiting for the rebound up on the top side. They will be able to force it through and find that second barrier. Flies between everybody here as Liari takes back control with the crooked leverage. Looking to send it in towards the top side. Shot towards the bottom. Frightfully Fresh keeps up the defense, though. And coming all the way around, the strike shot from LilyBunn misses. And we're going to point number 5 in set number 1.
Bit of a rare miss there from the side of BUNN Bonanza. Just feels like that entire play kind of fell apart after Liari missing the shot, LilyBunn missing the strike shot. Just 2 missed strikes can end a round just like that. Gotta be on your toes against this team. This last call group is coming to life here. That said, we'll have to see if they can keep this up as this barrier manages to stay alive. Breezy Breezy finding the angle on the bottom one. Good mix up there, but this is twice now that this top barrier has looked like it's about to die for last call, but it's just barely off. We'll have to see some adjustments in that positioning of the core and the accuracy on those shots. But that said, Breezy Breezy has this flip available. I think that might be part of the offense here, as this might be coming to life as Breezy Breezy's in control and manages to find that barrier.
Yeah, Liari just keeps cycling this pressure towards the bottom and the one-on-one up against Tragic, and now that he's KO'd off the top side, they're going to have the opportunity to maybe try to turn things back around, but he's been doing a good job of keeping it even so far. Scyther comes up for the flip, going to be able to find the second barrier as they look to close out set number 1. Scyther aggressing up towards the top. Tragic is respawned. Liari with a shooting opportunity will get fended back away by Frightfully Fresh, but bouncing off the bottom while he charges the perfect pitch towards the center. Frightfully Fresh will not be able to defend. LilyBunn going to win the set for BUNN.
I think one thing that really showed there was people might argue, oh, Fresh just missed the ultimate on that passing play, but that just goes to show that they're respecting the passing play so much that Fresh feels like they have to call out the passing play just because of how potent it has been for this team. But with the perfect form being the reward, Kazan has a lot of abilities, and that's going to be a lot of cooldown reduction. There was once upon a time a bug for this character where it wouldn't affect the other form. Whether or not that's still in the game, I cannot say for certain. But with Perfect Form and Catalyst being both picked up on the same team, that's a lot of value going to the side of BUNN Bonanza. That said, a lot of stagger picked up for 3Z Breezy and Tragic. That's going to give them some survivability to keep these orb stacks alive. Fresh getting some cooldown reduction with that heavy impact. And then finally, LilyBunn getting a lot of speed and power with that glass cannon. That's going to go quite well with their strike shot to give them a lot of zone control, but they still lose the barriers regardless.
Absolutely here. And now going to have that open goal. There's going to be the snag back from Liari. Critical there. 3Z Breezy nearly was able to just take it all the way home. Still not done yet. Going to be able to send it down. LilyBunn trying to keep this out of the hands of the aggressing last call roster. But Frightfully Fresh up towards midfield. The pressure is just too much. And a nice pendulum swing from 3Z Breezy will come up with the score for last call.
Great pendulum swing there. It's tough to make that call out if you're 3Z Breezy, whether you go for the goalie or go for the pass there. I think perhaps if it was Liari in Scyther's spot, we would have seen a pendulum swing onto the midfielder. But there, 3Z just takes the easy scoring attempt onto the goalie. No evade there, but just a point for the side of last call as they try to mount this very long comeback as they not only have to win this game, but the next one as well. On Oni Village, it could go quite long here, so you're really going to need to make the most of everything in your arsenal. 3Z Breezy almost making a good scoring attempt there, but it's their barriers that have fallen.
Really good stuff there to be able to find the second barrier from Scyther, but 3Z Breezy winning out of the 1v1 with Liari, going to be able to send it all the way into these barriers. Lily going to guide it around that one on the bottom, going to try to set up for Scyther and Liari on the move. And it does slip on through. Scyther able to go and get that hit stun from the boost, it looked like, and find the score for BUNN.
Big boost. Shades of ZZZ on this Luna Brawler. But that said, it's Scyther here who's piloting it. And we'll have to see if they can continue to pilot it to success like they are. But 3Z on a breakout performance there. Really just showing how much mastery they have on Rasmus. just making that look so easy. Scyther almost going down to that pendulum swing. It's a tough back and forth here.
Yeah, absolutely. The goal's already been opened up. Tragic setting up for the aggression, and the Giga Blast will get the ricochet right off of BUNN and send it home. Last call, up 2-1, looking to win themselves a set here in their first set of the day.
Yeah, Tragic has had some fantastic Giga Blasts so far on this map. 1 point taken and another just like that. We'll have to see if they can continue that aggression with it. That said, Scyther looking to make a play just like 3Z did a few seconds ago, but the ensnare drums will come out. And we are using that secondary, the maddening descent to score this point. The barriers are now open.
Yeah, really good stuff to find the second barrier, but 3Z's able to do the same on the other side, and Tragic will not let it through. He's got access to the flip. Scyther going to try to take matters into his own hands, looks for the shot, but Tragic's going to be able to block it yet again. Liari sending it back in with the crooked leverage, dueling with Tragic. Tragic going to try to take it up towards the top and push it past Scyther. The barrage opening up the space, but they will be able to fend it back away as the shot on goal comes on through. Scyther waiting up towards the top side, sending it back in through these speed boosts, taking it towards the bottom now. There's the top spin from Liari, trying to move it away from this red team. Down towards Scyther, throwing it through with the whammy, can't get it onto the core, and Frightfully Fresh holding down the defense so far. Scyther can't get out of that rebound, rather, and 3Z now moving up towards the top side. Liari going to take it in towards the bottom. Here's the boost, great, and snare drums from Frightfully Fresh will keep the goal alive, and the pendulum swing off the bottom will get it home for 3Z Breezy. Last call, take the set.
That was such a hard point to identify who was going to win it, but it is the side of last call at the end of the day. That ensnare drum saving the day. The boost
Huge.
almost scoring yet another point for this team, but here we are, as now we are back into the draft. We do see the Rasmus has not taken Might of the Colossus, but they take the Rampage regardless, making great use of that size. That's going to leave Quick Strikes open for Scyther, but it's going to leave stacks for Tragic. Already making some great moves on this map. This isn't going to help the Giga Blast that they've been doing quite well, but it's certainly going to give them a lot more range here, as we see, once again, a bulk up and now pick here, but this time in the goal arc, so not as scary for the damage. And then 1-2 punch Kazan with perfect form. We might honestly start seeing some KOs here, because that's a lot of damage, a lot of cooldown reduction, and a very tough brawler to deal with on this map.
Absolutely here. There's going to be, wow, 3 barriers falling down in an instant, but it's an open goal available here for last call, and 3Z taking it towards the top. Thought that they had the opportunity to close it out, and Tragic will do so. Winning out on the strike war, sending it up towards the top, and winning on out.
Tragic only up to 26 stacks here. Not quite what you need to get that maximum speed. They did increase that cap a while back, but that said, the kickoff gets a little bit stalled there, but a great collapse from last call leads to them taking this first barrier. Tragic making a great performance here so far. Not able to save that barrier, however, as now BUNN Bonanza are on the move.
Oh, the flip there into the topspin from Liari. Still not enough to secure the point. So they're going in for another strike here. Liari tries to get it past, but Tragic and Frightfully Fresh too good on the defense between the two of them. Scyther captures the rebound. Liari forced to retreat backwards as Tragic sending it back with the barrage. Scyther not quite in position to be able to send it back through after that block from Frightfully Fresh. Now waiting in towards the middle, needs Liari to send down the pass. LilyBun coming out of the goal arc, trying to make sure that the team will be able to keep up this aggression, but 3Z Breezy has snagged it away, goes in for the flip, finds it, and will push it all the way through for the score. 3Z Breezy coming in with a second point to last call.
3Z definitely cooking up a goal there, but Tragic cooking up some angles on that Giga Blast. Once again, we see time and time again, every time they have that special, they make huge gains off of it. It almost makes me wish that they had taken the extra special instead of Frightfully Fresh, but that said, that extra speed is really going to give them the range that they need, and we're seeing it here as they're setting up so many opportunities for their teammates. Even though they may be a sub in this game, they are playing at an exceptional level on this Oni Village map, but last call needs to get their act together because this defense needs to survive.
Absolutely, the goal's already been opened up, but 3Z taking it back into his own hands has been so good on this Rasmus in this game number 2. Looking to close out a second set for the squad. Scyther taking it down towards the bottom, comes through with the boost, doesn't find the core, and Frightfully Fresh will be able to hold it strong. Scyther, though, right there for the rebound as they attempt to clear it out towards the center. Will be able to break the loss streak and put BUNN on the board for the set.
That feels like a rare miss from Frightfully Fresh. That was a great last-second save, but the angle was just not quite it, sending it straight into the enemy brawler. with your strike on cooldown, that's not a position you want to be in. But that said, 2 strikes have taken 2 quick barriers here, as these Orb Dancer stacks are all full except for Tragic, who's going to be working on theirs very soon at 4 out of 5. So we're going to see a lot of people flying around, as Tragic is now, I believe, at almost capped stacks. We'll have to see if they can get it to full soon, or whether or not it's going to be yet another task that, at the hands of the damage of this enemy team, could potentially come back down.
Absolutely here. Scyther coming back up for another rotation, going to be able to flip it right in Frightfully's face, and will be able to find the opened up barrier. Dueling with it on the bottom now. Liari coming in towards the top side. Scyther waiting on the bottom. Tragic still helping out with the clear. Every time he falls back into the goal arc alongside Frightfully Fresh, and it is just an impenetrable defense. Really good stuff on the Kazan here, kind of playing a dual role between defender and midfielder. Really has been able to keep them alive for substantially longer in this game number 2. Fresh sending it down towards the bottom, comes in with a perfect pitch, will clear out towards the center. Finally, Fresh going to be able to defend that follow-up shot, still coming on through from Scyther, but another defense from Fresh will hold on to it. Sent back on over, an attempt at the boost from Scyther. Will not be able to find its way out of the core. Now Liari and Lilybun need to hold on to the defense for the foreseeable future. Lifeline comes through, flip from Lilybun, and right into the goal. It's 2-2, going to point number 5 on set number 2.
Once again, we see so much back and forth here between the teams. Great plays on offense and defense. And, you know, you were talking about Tragic falling back on that defense so much. The previous game, we even saw it on, when they were on the Zentaro, they were showing that wanting to come back and help for that defensive setup. But Tragic's a player who has told me in the past that as the midfielder, your job shouldn't be in your mind to win midfield. It should be to stop the enemy team from interacting with the core as much as possible. And they're really showing that they are able to do that here, even at this top stage. So we'll just have to see whether or not that continues. And that leads them potentially to this 0.5 going into their favor and giving them the first lead they will have in this series. Or whether or not that fire is going to peter out. And we're going to see another Bun Bun Bonanza lead.
Yeah, a lot on the line on this point. There's going to be a nice pendulum swing coming out of 3Z Breezy to be able to open up the goal for their side. Tragic resetting with the flip, sends it home, and it's going to be a 3-2 set for Last Call. They take the lead in game number 2.
Turns out the old heads playing on the old map. A little bit of home turf advantage here. But time and time again, we're seeing Tragic play successfully here. And they're rewarded with the MVP and a lot of potentially very, very good options for them. It's tough to say what the best pick is here, but it's going to be the Chrono Boost that could have been a pickup for the Rasmus, but they're opting for the Rapid Fire there. So it looks like their entire team is going to get some great awakenings as we see team player Kazan, typically something you see in the goal box, but now we see it in the midfield. So we'll have to see whether they can get that same value with the passing plays back and forth, set up that railgun for their teammate Scyther to make a move, or whether or not with this twin drive, Scyther's not going to need any help, and they're just going to have the speed to fly and the ability to make everything possible.
Yeah, there's going to be another extra push coming on through from Tragic here. Will get sent down towards the bottom by Scyther. Lilybun going to be resetting over, but there's going to be another nice pendulum swing placed out of 3Z Breezy, opening on up the goal arc and going to be setting up for another score. Goes in for the death touch, resetting onto themselves, going for the mix-up up against Lilybun. Won't be able to get it past her, and Scyther instead going to take control over on the right and going to be able to push it on up towards the barrier. Tragic navigating it on through, going to be pushing on forward, and not a chance to get it on past Lily. Scyther scoots on by, but again, can't touch the core quite yet. Lilybun gets it back into Liari's hands. Tragic again falling back on this defense. Scyther going to be able to find the flip and push it on up towards the barrier, and they will be able to open up the goal for themselves. Coming back into midfield here, could be going over towards either side. Tragic resetting on towards the bottom, trying to get it over into 3Z Breezy. Perfect pitch connects. 3Z with a chance with the whiplash, goes in for the flip, sends it home, gets the KO, but won't be able to find their way out of the score. Lilybun able to hold on to the defense, but Tragic takes it up towards the top and will score it for Last Call.
Tragic's making a run for it here, as potentially they should be getting picked up not as a sub next season, but as an outright player. We'll have to see if that continues here, but Scyther looking to stop this offense in its entirety, getting that first barrier, but cannot confirm the second here. As we are with this team player looking for some angles, but a great defense by Lilybun, surviving there, keeping both barriers up, but that does mean that this defense for Last Call is going to have to pick it up here.
Now going to be another reset coming on across. Last Call really coming alive in this game number 2. We said we were going to need to see a different team, and so far we certainly have. Relatively fresh. Again, using those drums, keeping it safe. We'll be able to hold on to the point. Really feels like it's been tough for Liari to get too involved in a lot of this passing game. There comes Scyther, goes in for the flip, it gets stopped by the ensnare drums. And Frightfully Fresh on this Mako looking way better than in game number 1 as well. Tragic trying to guide it on towards the bottom with the barrage. Liari will be able to take it though, and sends it back into the goal. It's 1-1.
Just because you're a midfielder doesn't mean you can't score, and with that team player, it's going to give you a lot of angles that you potentially could get to your forward, but is also just going to give you speed to get those points. But that said, we're on to a new kickoff here, and let's take a look at these stacks. We do see everybody at max orb dancer except for Scyther, who has still been making some plays regardless, so even without that speed has been making great use of the twin drive boosts to make up for that lack of speed and mobility the character has when those are down. And then also, the stacks on stacks are fully stacked, but this Rampage is at 4. This is a big Rasmus, and that's going to be some big hitboxes you have to defend against.
It really is. Taking up so much space on the pick. Oh, nice little poke there from Liari, though. Going to be able to find the second barrier. Tragic clears it out with the Giga Blast. Lilybun going to be able to guide it around the barrier yet again. Scyther comes in for another reset. Beautiful placement from Liari. Gets it right in there for the crater and guarantees a score for BUNN Bonanza.
Great crater maker there. Creates such a huge zone where it feels like you just aren't allowed to stand. With Fresh having such low energy, it's a great time to burn it there, but without having it this round, they aren't really using it for damage here. It's mostly just going to be that zone denial that they just showed off. But Tragic has this flip available, and even though they're down a barrier with these Giga Blasts, they're looking to make a move, almost a kill with that pendulum swing, but it's the top barrier that goes down to the hands of 3Z Breezy, and now both are down. Liari and Scyther are going to have to make a play here.
Yeah, really good combined offense from Tragic and 3Z Breezy there. Both recovering from each other's rebounds and being able to find it. There's going to be Scyther finding the KO, though. This is an open goal arc. 3Z has to fall back. Hang out of the defense. The Giga Blast from Tragic finds the ricochet and takes it home, salvaging the play for Last Call and taking us to .5 yet again. They can win game 2 right here.
Look, I mean, I know I've been glazing this Tragic guy, but yet another fantastic Giga Blast comes out, saving the day in the face of a dead goalie. But that said, it's a dead barrier, both for the side of Last Call, as we get into this next round.
Ooh, Scyther really bet it all there on the flip. Wasn't able to send it home. And this point will go on. BUNN Bonanza looking for a set 5. Will find it. Great placement on the whammy from Scyther. Bounces it into the corner and sends it home.
Yep. Even in the face of danger, BUNN Bonanza stays stalwart here, looking to just wrap this up and make it a 2-0. That said, let's take a look at what's available. It is the Orb Ponderer that may be going into the hands of Scyther. That it is. That's going to be cooldown reduction, speed, the whole shebang. Prime time going to Kai. Pretty standard stuff. Big fish on the Kazan. Going to make great use of that Might of the Colossus here. Monumentalist deny from the Now. They're not really in a spot to go for KO confirms with it, so it's just going to be a bit of a deny there. The Unstoppable. That's tough. If you have to deny the Monumentalist from Now and then they get Unstoppable to stop your offense, that's a really tough spot to be in. But Frightfully Fresh, getting Hot Shot at the end of the day, going to be a bit more core speed, as BUNN Bonanza suddenly has no barriers.
Definitely losing some of those barriers pretty fast here. An opportunity here for BUNN Bonanza to just finish out the game, finish out the series, but it's not the direction a lot of game number 2 has gone in. A chance to keep the series alive for Last Call. This does not look like the same team from game number 1 whatsoever. What a flip out of Scyther. Saves it as the goalie goes down. Will it end up being enough, though? Liari going to be able to poke it back away. 5 seconds to go on Lilybun. Scyther clears it towards the bottom. Liari going to guide it over towards the right side. The respawn from Lily is here. The boost going to be able to stun up 3Z, but finally they push it through. The full reset does not come through for BUNN, and Last Call are able to close it out.
Last Call, going for their last call here, as they are trying to make this game 3 happen. And Tragic certainly helping make that come to life. But that said, it's one barrier down for both sides. Liari now mounting a bit of an offense here as the brawler. We saw on the kickoff things swapped a bit, having Liard go to the center, a spot you typically see the brawler at for the collapse, so perhaps they're changing the game plan. But by the looks of it, Scyther, they try to keep that game plan as it is, showing that they are able to play Luna forward just as well as any other forward.
And just guiding it on past, BUNN cannot stand up to Tragic's barrage. It gets sent home 1 point away, 2-0 to last call, an opportunity to move it on to game number 3 after a disastrous game number 1. Last call looking to close out.
Close out, but so are BUNN Bonanza looking to close out this series, not just this game, as barriers are traded, but 3Z has the flip available into an open net. You're gonna have to be careful here, and with Liari burning that flip, it's now in the hands of 3Z. It's a tough situation. The defense cannot find the angle to defend. Scyther going to the top corner where there was already a ton of things protecting it, looking to help out. But that said, it is going to be the last point for last call, as now we are going to a game 3 on Demon Deus.
Game number 3 coming on up, going to Demon Deus, like you said. And last call, I mean, completely reinvent themselves between games 1 and games 2. Tragic on the Kai, looking fantastic there. 9 goals to his name at the end of the game. Doing a great job of kind of playing 2 roles there. Helps out on the defense a huge amount every time the aggression starts to come through from Scyther and Liari, and they're never really able to get a solid, consistent offense going. Meanwhile, really good performance from Frightfully Fresh as well on the Mako. Just able to hold down the fort so much better. And 3Z Breezy, so many scoring opportunities, so much damage, so many KOs, everything coming up huge for him.
I mean, Tragic, 300 redirects, 9 goals. Looking like the forward of that team. Looking like what BUNN was doing with the Kai forward, except this is the midfield doing the work here. Really just throwing a performance of a lifetime here. As now, Liari, with almost 300 of their own, stopping at 248. Just goes to show how back and forth this game was. But there was still a surprising amount of KOs here. 3 found for 3Z, 2 found for Scyther. With a character like Luna that it feels like you can find kills at seemingly any angle. It just goes to show that Oni Village, not a map where you can just find them whenever you want. That said, we'll have to see, as Demon Deus being the next map, I would say potentially you have to ban the Kai, but at the same time, this isn't the best map for the Kai midfield. I feel like you're going to see something potentially like the Now midfield or something else to just hold it down, potentially provide some damage or some killing potential. But we will just have to see. With this being the last map, it's going to be quite difficult both to stay alive, and with this being such a polarizing map at times, we're just going to have to see what plays out here, as both teams have players who've time and time again shown expertise on this map. I think this last map is going to come down to, can Tragic create another performance like the one we just saw?
Yeah, I mean, that game number 2, that's the kind of debut you want in your first games in the North American Strikers League. So we'll call it 50-50 so far for all Tragic here, as again, bound for relegation either way, our last call, but still fighting for seeding and liftoff and a chance to be able to re-qualify, and certainly a little bit of an audition here for the kind of teams they could try to get on for Season 5 for Tragic, who's really showing up very, very well, I think, in their first showing here up against a team like BUNN Bonanza, who, remember, we're an upper bracket team last season.
And let's not forget the biggest change between Game 1 and Game 2. Game 1, they had Tragic on the forward on that Zentaro. And this time around, they had them on the midfield, a bit of home turf for them. So I think we'll be seeing Tragic stick to the midfield here and let 3Z keep that forward role. We'll just have to see how it works out. But that said, we're not sure what the starting awakenings are quite yet. We're still waiting for that draft to pop up. So we will just have to see what goes on. But Demon Deus, I think we've seen Finny goalie from both teams. We've seen Now goalie now from BUNN Bonanza. I think those are 2 potentially very high value picks on this map, especially depending on those starting awakenings. Rasmus, another great pickup. We've seen the Asher goalie already happen once. We might see it happen again. There's a lot of picks for both teams that are really good on this map and that I feel like you see quite often. But just have to see who gets what and who makes the most of it.
Absolutely here. Looking like we'll get into draft before too long and find out what our starting awakenings are going to be for this big decider game. Again, a lot on the line here, especially for Bun Bun Bonanza. Going to 5-4 when there is such a massive multi-way tie at 4-4 right now, right? Somebody out of Air's Kitten Club, Cosmic Calamities, and Showtime are probably going to win their series. Very possibly even multiple of those teams are going to win those series. And that is going to put them tied with you if you finish 5-4. And just like that, your top 4 seeding is at risk. And you may start out in the lower bracket. You could even conceivably miss playoffs. That's a little bit more unlikely, but not impossible.
Certainly something that we'll just have to see play out at this point, as if they do lose this game, it could be quite tough for their tiebreakers, like you said. But that 4th place seeding is something very coveted in NASL for pretty much all the reasons that you mentioned. But another thing is just that comfort. You can't underestimate the comfort of having that security, almost like a security blanket there, holding you down and holding you able to just feel like you don't have to worry about as much going into it. Like you said, with that second life that you mentioned having earlier, it really just does mean so much in the face of players like these, where even when your substitutions come in, you're fighting for your life. That is just the level that NASL is at. And we'll just have to see whether or not these teams are going to be going to that 5-4, or whether or not last call, that was their last call, and Bun Bun Bonanza are going to lock things up and load into this game.
You said now it's the last call. They got one more drink in there, as we do have indeed a game number 3, last call, maximizing how many games they're going to get in North American Strikers League Season 4. Get those extra reps in for when they're going to have to play again for Season 5. So let's get into the draft. It is Glass Cannon, and I always want to call it Explosive Entrance. It's called something else, isn't it?
No, it's Explosive Entrance.
It's Explosive Entrance? What do I always call it? I always call it like Sudden Impact or something. I call it a League of Legends rune because it looks like one. Either way, no problem. It looks like I've learned my lesson. It's Explosive Entrance. Now I know.
We all have growth and opportunities as people, but that said, we will not be seeing any scaling growth onto this X as they are banned out, and then the Finny is going to be the second ban here. I think pretty reasonable bans given who you are playing against and what map you are on. That said, with the Glass Cannon, there's a lot of times where it's hard to hold on to that Glass Cannon, especially against a Vice who's going to be chain lightning left and right. But then you also have to consider with Explosive Entrance, I think that Zentaro could potentially be coming back here as another great pickup, but we'll have to see if the Kazan is picked up as well as we wait for this pick 2 and 3 here for the red side of Last Call. Curious to see what those picks are going to be, but against Vice, it could be quite tough to stay alive, so maybe we'll see some now for some healing, but we will see the Zentaro with that Explosive Entrance start. I feel like it's hard to pass up on that, and we will see Aimi as the second pick here. Character that can make good use of this Explosive Entrance with the dash, but it's tough to say what they're going to go, as Glass Cannon is also quite nice, but we see the Drakkar come back once more.
Yep, so the Drakkar coming back in, that's very likely going to be for Scyther, who, again, even though they lose game number 2, a number of highlight plays on the Luna once again. I gotta say, I gotta keep hyping up this guy on what he's been showing us on these kind of new, more ranged characters. I think the Drakkar has been the most successful of them. You know, the Luna's had a couple of good games. The Now looked pretty good, but if we want to talk about, you know, your non-brawler brawlers, I think these look fantastic on the Drakkar. Going to be the Vice and the Now to round out the composition here. Erasmus run back for 3Z. Aimi very likely going to be in the goal arc, plus that Zentaro. Let's see how they're going to be able to do on Last Call, where they've kind of got a double brawler set up, or the Rasmus midfield more appropriately.
Honestly, I think this could be the Rasmus goalie for Fresh, and we could be seeing the Aimi midfield from Tragic. That said, Drakkar, we've seen it before on this map in the hands of Scyther, looking quite good. We'll have to see if it looks quite good once more as we are loading into this game, as things are looking like they could be a bit back and forth here, but with the damage from that Vice, I feel like that is going to be a big turning point for this team as far as how they're going to play around what they have available. We'll have to see what starting awakenings get picked up here, but honestly, all considered, I like the drafts from both sides. It just depends on whether or not this is a double brawler, like you said, or if this is going to be the Rasmus goalie from Fresh.
Yeah, that's an interesting subject to bring up there. It does look like you called it. It's going to be Frightfully Fresh on the Rasmus, Tragic on the Imi, so another kind of new-ish look from Tragic here. Let's see what he's going to be able to show us.
I do like what I'm seeing from the Starting Awakenings, though. Everyone has taken explosive entrance except for Fresh. Fresh recognizing that being in the goal box and also having that range as Rasmus, you have a lot of ways to keep that glass cannon alive as opposed to these other characters who are going to be fighting neck and neck to brutalize each other. As Breezy showing there with one dash, hitting, I believe, all three players.
Oh.
That just goes to show why this glass cannon was not picked up here. But with the explosive entrance, that's a lot of damage going out. Scyther looking low. They tried to give 3Z a run for their money in the health department, but it was actually Scyther who ended up taking the losing trade in that engagement, as now they can't seem to get this barrier down. But the defense on both sides has been excellent, but Tragic and 3Z have already built up flips here. It's going to make the defense quite tough for BUNN Bonanza. We'll have to see whether or not they can get it going as one barrier falls.
Yeah, and I like what you brought up about the glass cannon on Frightfully Fresh, because he has done a great job of being able to stay untouched for a very long time. It takes 15 seconds to fully stack that one up, and they're going to get pretty close to that already, and you can see sometimes these abilities are coming on out. They'll land a Death Touch or a Pendulum Swing onto a squishier target, and it is just absolutely devastating already at this point in the game. Both barriers have still fallen on down, though. Nice shot from Scyther across the map, going to be able to find the first goal for BUNN Bonanza.
Making great use of that animation lock from the Imi ultimate. It looked like there were no real angles into that net, but as soon as that ultimate came out, Firewall Sentry has quite a bit of startup, so if you can get that shot through before the first turret shots come out, just like that, you can see points coming your way. That said, Fresh really just showing masterclass defense. They're using the hook to get the forwards out of the way and get the ball cleared out, as now they have a flip for their triples, but so does the defense on the side of Lilybun. But Scyther and Liari both quite low on energy, and we're seeing Scyther take 1 million damage for it. They might be on their way out quite soon, as Rasmus very good at securing kills.
Wow.
Maybe not the best at applying damage, but great at securing them. The 3Z's taking some damage of their own. We'll have to see with this Imi ultimate if they can get a second barrier here, or whether or not it's just going to be 3Z farming some damage on Scyther and Lilybun as well. But it's 3Z who's going to be going down here soon by the looks of it.
Yeah, really good stuff so far. Ooh, the flip out of Frightfully Fresh. Not going to end up finding its mark, and they will be able to take a barrier for that. Scyther resetting the cycle up towards the top, goes in for the lock-in load. Can't get the bounce off the back to be able to get onto the lock. Nice defense from Tragic, still helping on out on that every chance that they get, whether it be the Imi or that Kai. Scyther will be able to find it, and what a shot from Scyther. So much core speed with that Molten Bolt already applied. Gets it in there before the reaction can come through.
Yep, in overtime, that core is going to be flying off those Molten Bolts, but Scyther notably has taken Siphoning Wand here for a little bit of extra damage to help match this Zentaro, and we're seeing it come out as the damage is stacking quite high. But so is the suffocating presence of these forwards, as that barrier does fall between the Fireball Sentry and 3Z Breezy's presence as the Zentaro. That said, though, Tragic is the one that's going to need to make some presence to the emergency room at this rate, as they are looking quite low. But the barrier is looking, even though it is quite large, looking quite small, as they do not manage to find the hitbox on it. But with a kill found onto the now, we'll have to see if with this power play they're making something happen, or Scyther's going to run a clinic on this offense.
What a shot on that Molten Bolt, getting it onto the core, bouncing it off the bottom, finding the barrier, buying time for the respawn, and then getting KO'd off the bottom. But it's too little, too late. Lilybun finding that Thunderstruck, taking it home, and a 3-0 set to BUNN Bonanza.
Tough spot to be in, as with that Thunderstruck making the core invulnerable, it almost feels like a core flip in front of you, and as Fresh, that's tough to deal with. Rasmus has a lot of great options for it, but it is at the end of the day still a bit of a guessing game to up, down, fast, or slow. But with this bulk up pickup, that's going to make it even easier for them to clear through this Drakkar and apply damage alongside the team. But with extra special and Stinger picked up in retaliation, that's a lot of damage. That's going to be going for the side of BUNN Bonanza, and with Big Fish and Quick Strikes being the pickup in retaliation, some stagger to survive, some energy to evade, but maybe not enough. We will have to see if this damage is too much, as this barrier goes down quickly. to an Ivy setup that I feel like we see a bit in solo queue, but here on the top stage, showing just how powerful it can be if the enemy team is not ready for it.
Wow, Scyther just resetting the cycle onto the bottom there, going to be able to take it all the way! Just standing there, lock and load after lock and load into the barriers, into the shot up to the top. And Scyther just does that all on his own. I mean, what a point.
Scyther making it happen, but we definitely have to make a bit of a shout out to Liari there with that primary placement, messing up Tragic Strike, allowing it to get to Scyther in the first place. So while Scyther definitely put on a bit of an offensive clinic there, it just goes to show that even the smallest of details from this BUNN Bonanza team can really just show how much they work together and play off of each other. That said, they're going to need to play together to get this second barrier before Last Call can turn things around, but with this lead that they have, it's quite tough for Last Call.
Yeah, Molten Bolt comes through on a 3Z, going to go into the Oni's Blade, takes it home, finds the barrier, and now going to be trying to reset alongside Tragic's Sentry. Still won't be enough. Flip comes on across, going in for the shot on the bottom. Can't get the ricochet quite right. Frightfully Fresh going to secure it with the Death Touch. Gets it all the way around, and now here comes the Glitch Pop, resetting for 3Z. Flip from Scyther will stop the aggression for now, but Tragic and 3Z resetting it. Great block there from Lily off of the slashing strike. Prevents 3Z from being able to take it all the way into the goal. They're still not out of the woods yet. Liari trying to send it through. Tragic keeps intercepting these shots, sending them on down towards 3Z, but now 3Z is gone, and that cycle will be broken, but losing control. Lilybun needs to be able to get back in time, and Tragic finding it with a cyber swipe. Lilybun losing control over the core for just a moment, and Tragic pounces and closes out the point.
Tragic seeing that the mind control technology did not work out as Lilybun does eject button back, does find the angle on that cyber swipe. We saw it at the start of the round to get the first barrier, and then we see it there once again at the end. A bit poetic, I would say. But that said, that Flip from Fresh, not able to find the angle onto the barrier, but is able to clear it out. But that's going to mean that they have no energy to protect themselves in the face of the Drakkar shotgun. They're going to have to find a way to clear through it.
Yeah, nice double shot there. There's the Death Touch, nearly sending him home. Scyther able to hold on for now. Now looking to get Stagger on towards Tragic. And wow, just nobody covering that one. Frightfully Fresh down towards the bottom. I think thought Tragic would fend it off, but it slips right by him, and they will be able to score the point.
Definitely tough for Tragic to go defend that, though, because in the face of that now primary, when you're staggered, can feel so easy to die just like that. Scyther goes down. Breezy Breezy finds both barriers here.
Absolutely here, really good stuff. Nice channel of the Supernova out of Lilybun. We'll be able to find a barrier and clear things out. Breezy Breezy getting bullied now. Nice taking of control for Scyther. Liari pushing on up as well. Going to come in for this flip, but that sentry turret should stop it, or will it? Finding a hole in the armor, will be able to open on up the goal. Lilybun going to fend it away with the power cord. Scyther resetting up towards the top side. Lily going to have to clear it away, does have access to that core flip as necessary. Now coming on out of the goal arc, going to be looking for the push and finding it. Lilybun takes the set for BUNN Bonanza, and they are up 2-0.
The Oni's Blade stopping it, looking like it's a good defensive measure, but there they find the last touch to get it into the bottom right. No burst used there. No burst available for Fresh, so we're just going to have to see this round go to the next one as BUNN Bonanza are in a big lead here, and it's going to be the 1-2 punch on Drakkar that, if they weren't doing damage before, I think they certainly will be doing it now, but it's also knockback for those side kills. Could be looking like a Juliet impersonator, but with that invisibility, it's hard to survive against that. That said, we've got Rapid Fire available onto the Imi. That's going to be more glitch pops, but perfect form. A lot of cooldown reduction going there. As Lilybun now has KO Prize Fighter, I believe is what it's actually called. I'm so used to calling it KO belt that at this point, that's going to be getting stacked up quite quickly, but it's Tragic who goes down in a tragedy of a kill, as now Last Call have to survive in this 2v3 power play.
Pick a League of Legends room, Dendar. You can call it whatever you want. There's going to be quite a bit of damage coming out across, and Scyther, with the lock and load, gets it past Tragic and Frightfully Fresh. 2 more goals to go, and BUNN Bonanza will walk away with the win.
You mentioned League of Legends runes, but the Hail of Blades from Frightfully Fresh is not going to be able to defend these points by the way things are going. That said, it's a new point, new opportunities, and a new Firewall Sentry blocking down that barrier and giving points. The defense by Fresh is phenomenal. BUNN Bonanza is going to have to find some defense here as their net is wide open.
Ooh, Molten Bolt whiffed there, but Scyther's still going to try to take control. Frightfully Fresh gets hit back with the Death Touch. Nice interception by 3Z Breezy. Picks it up with the rush and sends it into the goal. Really great timing there.
Showing that they're aware of the passing plays, aware of the opportunities to snipe those, and aware of the damage on Liari. Good lord, that is a lot of damage on the kickoff.
Breezy feeling himself now, fresh off that last play, gets a ton of damage on a cross. They will be able to find one of the barriers. Liari nearly gets taken off on the top side, will be KO'd, but did manage to open up the goal in the meantime. Breezy has access to the core flip as necessary. The sentry turret being set up. There's the flip. Nice block from Scyther on the lock and load. Goes right into Lilybunn's hands, who clears it out towards the bottom. Look at that clear with that power cord. Will still be fended away by Frightfully Fresh, but now the aggression coming back on out as Liari has respawned, and as he gets KO'd, Scyther takes one more shot and puts it in the goal. 2-1, BUNN Bonanza.
Not the trade you want to take when you are in the deficit here, as Tragic going to secure that kill is going to leave that part of the net open. So perhaps the timing there is just not quite it. Scyther finding a strike somehow, even in the face of death. 3 players on them, no health to their name, no energy to back them up, but still the barriers go down.
Yeah, and hard not to root for Last Call here. They've put on such a miraculous comeback in this series, but are struggling here to not just get 3-0'd in game number 3 by BUNN. Liari guiding it towards the top. Lilybunn arrives with the core flip and sends it into the goal. BUNN Bonanza will move on up to a 6-3 finish in the regular season. That should lock them an upper bracket playoffs berth.
I mean, you know what they say, they call them goalies because they get the goals, or something like that. But Lilybunn, once again, showing that they can go onto the offense and score points for their team. We saw it earlier with the Finny flip in the 2v3 power play that was against them, and here, once again, with that vice secondary, they show up into the net and show up for their team as they score a point. That said, it's tough if you look at the score, the stat sheet, I'm going to be honest, but even with those stats showing what they are, these players did play quite well and performing just as they needed to. But at the end of the day, BUNN Bonanza performing just a little bit better.
Yep, really big win here for BUNN Bonanza. Talked about how important it was for them. Really felt like a foregone conclusion after game number 1. You got to give props to the fight back there from Last Call. We will get to see them in liftoff as they look to defend their spot in the North American Strikers League for Season 5. See if they can reprise their playoffs showing that they gave us back in Season 3.
We will have to see indeed, but that said, we will have to see what our next game is looking like here, as while this one started with a bit of